Imagine if your husband made a name,
My wife,
a business,
I am married.
his whole embodiment
The blonde one with blonde hair, because it looks like my wife.
was that he loves his wife.
There's no one I would rather spend 90 years with.
Stop it.
And then he publicly cheats on you with his employee.
And he turns to me, he's like, I'd love to take you, but I'm gonna be in so much trouble. Because his girlfriend is pregnant and she was also in New York, so he had to be on his best behavior.
Runs away from the internet and the backlash for 3 years, only to come back to start a podcast.
I wanted to say I'm sorry.
With the most victim pull on the heartstrings, sit there and look sad fucking episode.
I betrayed my spouse, co-workers, friends, family.
That's Ned Fulmer. I'm sure you're wondering how he got there, all crumpled up, sad, and now part of the lonely male epidemic.
Kind of lonely sitting in the bed all by myself.
Well, it's because he cheated on his wife.
And normally my wife is right there. It's not the same without her.
And now he's back after 3 years. He found a microphone and he started a podcast. I have to say, starting a podcast with the most groggy vocal fry voice.
For me, I also love creating, and instead of making pottery, I like making media.
Is a choice, and it's killing me. And I watched the whole 1 hour and 8-minute video where he brought on his ex-wife, who he cheated on.
I saw red for a minute.
And I'm pretty sure hates him.
It's hard to hear you saying like, fuck no, I don't forgive you. You're still very angry.
Of course I'm still angry.
And I will break it all down for you so you don't have to watch it. So if you didn't know, Ned was part of the group. It was a very, very popular show on YouTube.
Theme is love. It's also glamorous because I'm a dad.
And they would get millions of views all the time. He was known as the I love my wife guy.
My wife, my wife, my wife,
My wife.
my wife, my wife, my wife.
And he only loved his wife. He would post, little things like this. So this TikTok says, your secret's safe with me and his wife. Sure, we can hang out with my wife. Just the two of us and my wife. Ned was just a guy with a wife that he loved and would never hang out with another woman ever.
Have you ever cheated on anyone? 1, 2, 3.
Sure have. Would do it again in a heartbeat.
Well, little did everyone know is that he was publicly fucking some chick, which was his producer, and was caught making out with her in front of staff on a work trip. That's how much Ned Fulmer loved his wife, and now he's back. He has a podcast. He has a channel that he started called Rock Bottom, and his face looks like that. Probably the same face that he got when he was caught with his producer. So the intro starts out with Ned telling us about the video and just saying, hey, it's been 3 years, I'm back, and I just want to say that I didn't only betray my wife, I betrayed you.
I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who talked about his relationship and put that out there for public consumption. And you, as a viewer, I know that I broke your trust. I betrayed my spouse, co-workers, friends, family, and I betrayed you.
Oh, you little bitch troll from hell.
After that, he kind of pauses and he starts scrunching up his face like he's about to cry. But don't worry, you guys. He understands why people are upset.
It was understandably a messy and devastating situation for everyone involved.
And he really wants to make sure before he starts his YouTube career again.
I want to tell stories of curiosity and empathy, and I want them to be meaningful.
But before he does that, he wants to make sure he, patches things up with his watchers.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry.
Because it's been 3 years and he really wants to make some easy money again.
I hurt you.
So you'll watch his videos.
I hope to make amends.
And don't bring up his mistake anymore because he really wants to get the views so that he can make that money like. So for me, it didn't start out that great, and honestly, the podcast was amazing for us, for the watcher. So after his intro of his very sad, I feel so horrible from the actions that I did intro, he starts the podcast with his ex-wife.
Well, here we are.
Not the weird giggle. So Ariel mentions that she absolutely hated how everything was so public, and she understood that they were public figures, but it was never like they were celebrities.
Right? The whole scandal, it it grew and grew and grew and grew.
And she really wants to have authentic friends. And through the years, she was able to have more authentic friends. But after this, it was very strange. You know, if she saw someone cool at her kid's school or something, she couldn't really go up to them without them already knowing her business.
I want to have regular friends, and I don't want to somebody that I want to be friends with at like preschool and have to start every conversation with like, my personal life is a dumpster fire, as I'm sure you know, but also, do you want to be friends with me?
And Ned's like,
oh yeah, I struggle with that too.
I remember I have met some people, like made new friends or kind of introduced myself to strangers. It's like, oh, let's exchange Instagrams. I'm like, well, one, I have a lot more followers than you might expect. Two, all of this is pretty outdated. Don't Google me.
Anyway, through episode 1 of The Broken Man, because of his own mistakes, he had to make sure that everybody knew, like, we are still in communication and we're friends.
I mean, we are still friends. We have children together. We go on trips together.
Right.
Like, you know, there's a spectrum of being together, not together.
Right.
Like, there's ways in which we're together, but it's like, the way that everyone wants to know, like, are you guys still like an item? Are you guys still a couple? Like, no.
Look at her face when she's explaining that they still hang out, they still talk, and they're still friends, and we're not a couple, or are we? Maybe we can in some point.
We really haven't been at all this last 3 years.
No, we haven't.
Anyway, after that weird long pause and her explaining that we are definitely not together, she explains that people always ask her, do you forgive Ned? And this was her answer.
No. Fuck no. Sorry, I saw red for a minute. It's like, no.
You know, I was a little worried. I was expecting her to say, yes, of course I forgive him. I found closure and it's the right thing to do to forgive my husband for cheating on me so publicly. It's fine. Because forgiveness is what you're supposed to do. Because Ariel's so nice. So I am so happy that someone who is so nice, someone so pure of heart and doesn't seem very evil or angry, said fuck no. Because I would be lying. I always, if my husband did that and I was like, I forgive him, shing. I would always get in trouble when I was little when the topic of forgiveness came up. Things like that, I don't forgive. My mom would always be like, well, you know, Jesus always says forgive and he would forgive. I am not Jesus. I hold grudges. I will not like you. I will take my hatred to my grave and feel perfectly fine about it. So love that part. But even though she does not forgive him at all, and she still sees red when she talks about it, she says, but I can hang out with you, laugh and have a great time with my children, because that's what's important to her.
I can be around you and still like have a good time and like enjoy spending time with you and enjoy spending time with my kids. Like, I think that's a win.
And as she's explaining this, there's like this glimmer of hope in Ned's face as he looks at her like this. And at the end, after she stops talking, he says,
it's hard to hear you saying like, fuck no, I don't forgive you. Like,
so then they start talking about how she found out about the affair, and you know, there was a lot of speculation about how she found out, and one of the speculations are true. She did find out from the fans. She had no idea that Ned was hanging out with his producer, as she wasn't even supposed to be on the trip.
I found out about your affair from the fans. I mean, and I was so blindsided that somebody sent me a picture.
And even when she saw the picture, Ariel said that she was so, you know, she trusted her husband so much that he loved her, that he would absolutely never do that. I mean, he is a public figure. He would never do that. I mean, he named a busted old car after his wife.
This is the Ariel. I named it after my wife.
Who would have guessed he would have cheated after that? That she didn't even think like the picture was real. She thought that.
I thought it was your sister. And I remember sending it to you and being like, what's your sister doing in New York?
Something that kind of cracked me up through the whole video that would kind of irritate me. It was Ned like always leaning forward and asking her, well, how did this make you feel? How did this change your life?
How did having it become such a public scandal kind of change everything?
Everything pretty much changed in her life, but the biggest thing was that she trusted no one. She felt like her privacy was just tainted. It was gone.
Never had cameras waiting outside of our house. Like that's not something that we're used to.
Everybody was just on her. Everybody knew everything. There was so many people outside of their house. There was just video after video after video, and they would not stop.
I didn't trust you. I couldn't trust my friends.
When she mentioned that they weren't celebrities, it was funny because Ned kind of looked like, but I am. I'm the wife guy.
We're not like celebrities. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not a part of our lives.
Like, look at his face right there. He's like, wait, hold on, but I am. I was very popular. I will stand people calling me a cheater, but not a non-celebrity. Anyway, you know how earlier she mentioned that she saw red when she started talking about Ned's betrayal, as she kept stating it in the whole podcast?
With this betrayal, the partner who's doing the betraying, the betrayed partner.
There was a lot of moments where she was like stuttering, looking very uncomfortable, looking down, probably seeing red again, just very, very angry.
You know, found out that we were dealing with this, with this cheating situation, with this betrayal. We decided to find a new couples therapist.
So she would talk about the couple therapy they would do, and every time they go to couple therapy, at least in this one instance, they were driving and they would look behind them and think, I think that car is following them. And they'd get to couples therapy, the car would stop and be parked in couples therapy. They would go inside couples therapy, and then when they came out, there would be just a bunch of cars, like paparazzi, taking picture after picture. And like she said, she's not a celebrity. She doesn't really know what to do. And so she just couldn't think of what to do in that situation.
I don't know what to do with my face is I smile.
Yeah.
That is
First of all, shut up, Ned. 2, I remember those pictures of them coming out, and people were speculating. They were like, why is she smiling? What are you doing with her? I was probably one of those people being like, why is she smiling? Why does she look so happy? She was just awkward.
I just smile like an idiot.
You know, imagine a lot of like you're trying to just get through this thing that is so public. It's already annoying as hell. Your husband, the my wife guy, does not love his wife, actually. And he actually really loves his secretary or whoever the other girl was, producer. And now all these freaking camera people are sprinting up to you with their cameras in your face. What do? The options are either get in your car looking angry, punch them, and go to jail, or smile like an idiot. You know, I do sometimes like awkwardly smile, or like I do that awkward laugh that, you know, how Ned's doing that throughout this whole thing. So before Ned played that, I would never cheat on my wife. My wife is always with me. She's my best friend and I love my wife. That was his whole thing. Now his new character is, I'm the guy that cheated on my wife, and I am publicly coming on the internet to say sorry and that I understand what I did, and I want to make sure that I am giving her comfort.
Choices that I made and just actions that I took that I'll always regret. I'll always regret how much pain I caused you and other people. You know. And I'm deeply, deeply sorry.
He speaks ever so tenderly, ever so softly, and ever so nicely throughout the whole podcast.
I can see how that caused you to really feel unsafe and mistrusting of the whole world. Just want to acknowledge that and
Ugh, you little roach. So then Ariel takes us to the time that he had to pick her up from the airport, and it's kind of their first time that they are seeing each other after the whole situation is aired when she contacted him. The confrontation. So he picked her up in New York.
And I just naively looked over to you in the driver's seat, and I was like, why was Grace in New York? Like, I didn't realize Grace was in New York. Why was she, referring to that picture that I had sent to you? And you looked over at me with this look on your face, and it was like the veil just fell. I knew in my brain that something was going on, but I just sort of refused to believe it.
So she's explaining how she felt at that moment and what everything, breaking down every single step of what went down for us, the watcher. And she asked, do you remember that day?
Remember that?
No, I don't remember it happening like that, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, really? How do you remember it then, Ned?
Oh, I mean, you asked me a couple of different follow-up questions as I just sort of answered them.
Really, Ned? You looked calm, cool, and collected and didn't look like your butthole just fell to the bottom of the car? Kind of like how your face looks throughout this whole podcast? Scared, afraid, guilty.
Actually, this talked about it in this way, and then it's like I remember that moment, it all just kind of like fell down where I totally could see how devastated and just completely traumatized you were.
Well, I'm glad you can see that now, Ned. Anyway, Ned turns it back to him and he says, I've been struggling a lot too because I hurt the woman that I love.
Everything changed for me as well. I'm like, oh no, this is like I've been hurting this person that I love this whole time.
You didn't realize until then.
Thank you, Ariel. Keep in mind, this guy who is the I love my wife guy went to work, invited his producer onto a work trip where she wasn't supposed to be, New York, was with coworkers in public, canoodling, kissing, doing whatever with his producer in front of people. What do you mean you just realized that you're hurting You were in public. You're not the I love my wife guy. You were the I don't give a fuck about my wife. Literally, to the point that I will have an affair in public and think that I'm so immune to people noticing me because I have so much money.
Well, but then there's other things you tell yourself to kind of sort of compartmentalize or I guess.
Interesting.
Sir, why did you put this up here? I don't like you even more now. Ned even says after he got caught, he was kind of happy that he finally got caught. He doesn't have to keep a secret anymore.
There was probably a small part of me that was sort of relieved to not be keeping a secret, I guess. Is that hard for you to hear?
And she pretty much says, no, that didn't hurt me at all to hear because that's exactly what a lot of people who cheat want to do. It makes them feel a lot better about themselves once all of that is off of their shoulders and onto their partners.
I had to take all of that guilt and shame of your affair.
And after her whole, monologue of what happens when a partner cheats and why they feel more, better about themselves actually getting caught, she slowly reaches for her coffee cup and takes a nice sniff of it and asks,
I mean, did it ever occur to you that like all of that guilt and shame, you like hoisted that on me? Like you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
And Ned just nods up and down. Doesn't really say anything because what could he say at this point? I hope the feeling of shit, I don't know if I should have had my wife on here. I think people are gonna hate me even more. And I do. Ariel was also talking about how society, when a woman gets cheated on, a lot of people will say, well, what did she do to make him cheat? Why was he having one during I?
When men have affairs, women are often looked at as like, well, what did you do wrong? And it is so hard to get out from under that.
And I couldn't help but think of Pearl when she blames everybody else except for the man when a man cheats.
You could be the best wife in the world, but if he sees a hot 22-year-old and you're like 45, it's over. Just take the L.
Like, I wonder if Pearl saw this and was like, well, she probably didn't have enough sex with him. That's why he cheated with his producer, the my wife guy. Like, why do some of you guys have to pretend to like your wife? You could be like the other guys that literally hate them. Anyway, when she explained this about people saying, well, what did you do to make him go cheat? He gives the best answer.
I don't think it's fair that as a society, you're put in that position.
You put her in that position, you sloth.
It's certainly not true.
I just love the faces that she's making through this whole episode. It really just gives what everybody else is looking like at the same time.
I trusted you so completely.
Anyway, Ariel explained that she thought that she had this pure love. They've been together since like in their early 20s.
We grew up together. We got married when we were like in our early 20s.
They built a life together. They had children.
I thought we had this love that like transcended.
He was literally the I love my wife guy. She worked with him and she didn't understand how like this could, like she just said that she had a veil. You know, he had a mask on. She had a colorful veil on and looked at things way too naively.
But it was a fantasy. I just think, how could you do that to me? Like, who are you?
And then once again, Ned slides in there with the most impeccable, thoughtful line to make sure that his ex-wife, who he publicly cheated on, is okay.
I'm so sorry.
She didn't even look at him when he said that, because we all know that he's not sorry. He's only sorry that he got caught, because it would have kept going. That's pretty much how the whole episode goes. A lot of her face doing this, and a lot of him all crumpled up, trying to look like a victim and being like his heart's so broken and upset that he's part of the lonely male epidemic.
It was ironic. That weekend I was at a wedding and they like played our wedding song as their dance.
What is she even supposed to say to that? Well, you know what? She didn't have to, because they sat in silence for way too long and he decided to fill that awkward silence with something even more awkward.
It's just like stepping away to cry every 20 minutes.
Yeah, she didn't care. In fact, she smiled when she heard that he cried. So after that, he had to quickly end the podcast when he saw that his new persona wasn't winning her over.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes.
But at least he now has a show that's gonna do great. Oh, yikes. Looks like people only cared to hear about your wife and watch you look like an idiot. Maybe you should have done a little dance for episode 2. I think the wife is coming back on.
Do you think you're gonna be like a public, like, do you want to continue being an influencer?
Probably not.
I'm happy for you.
So it'll be interesting to see if anybody wants to hear what the I love my wife guy who cheated on his wife has to say, as he, in his words, wants to spread kindness and curiosity and help the world any way he can. Y'all know what this is. He's probably missing the amount of money that he used to make and he wants to get back on it. That's why he started a whole new podcast with a whole new character. The guy that cheated on his wife, and now he's ready to tell his story.
As co-parents, I hope that we raise boys of honesty and integrity.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So, you know, that's what he's doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, you do not have to get married, and you don't have to make your whole personality that you love your wife, especially if you don't and you're having an affair. Want to hang out a little bit more? Don't forget to watch our last video on the Pilates bully who says Pilates aren't for poor people.
Where's the diversity? Where's the accessibility? Babe, there is no accessibility. This is Bottega.
So check that one out. I'll leave it up here and below. Until next time, don't cheat on your wife, boyfriends, husbands, girlfriend, whatever. Just break up, weirdos.
I cheated on my wife with my producer. Didn't even love her, but somehow I chose her. Took her on a trip, my friends that don't do it. But hey, I'm the wife guy, no one's gonna blow it. I pulled her by the hips, a fan snapped the pic. Now my wife starts scrolling on her feed, that's it.